Hello, everybody. I am proud to announce that I have done it. I have finished reading this book. I know it's backwards because the phone's facing me in selfie mode. But this book is called The Ripple Effect. The Ripple Effect by Greg Wells, who has a PhD. He is a fellow Canadian. And this book was great and had a lot of good information, but it was written like a textbook. And so it was like dry, and I could only read like 30 or so pages at a time before literally falling asleep. Not that there was like amazing amount of usable information within this book. Okay, so you can't read it, but it says sleep better, eat better, move better, think better. So those are the 4 main points, and then he did some like a summary chapter at the end. This is the type of book where you almost want to have like, I know some people do this with every book, but I don't do this at all. You might want to have like a pen and paper and kind of be like taking notes while you're reading it. I don't do that. So I didn't do that. And oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. Everything's okay. But I have like retained some of it. And I've already started to put certain things into practice. So, just being honest, like, I don't do any of those things well. Sleep, eat, move, think. Actually, I like to think that have like a very good mental health. But I am like secretly, well, it's not a secret actually, I don't think, but like addicted to sugar. And so like I'm like fairly certain it's an addiction. Like there's definitely some like key things that I notice when I start kind of like analyzing myself, I guess. And I think like addiction is like to do with mental health, so maybe I'm not as good in that area as I think. But from Sleep Better is how it starts. And even though I read that chunk of it a really long time ago, because I started this book a really long time ago, that what I took from the sleep section was that we sleep in our sleep cycles are like an hour and a half. Are they an hour and a half? Or are they 45? I think kids' are 45 minutes. But what I took away from it was that you need to like kind of like manage your sleep in like hour and a half sections. So if you're like going to bed, kind of give yourself 15 minutes to fall asleep, and then mark that as like you're going to sleep time. And then when you go to like set your alarm for the morning, instead of like setting it for the same time every morning, you should like adjust it based on when you're going to sleep. So I don't know, like say tonight I'm going to sleep at like 10:45, so I'll probably be sleeping by 11. So then I should set it for 7.5 hours after 11. I mean, like, if it's possible, like, if you're gonna do that and then you're gonna be late for work or whatever, I mean, you should probably go to bed earlier, but, hour and a half increments. So, like, if you get, like, you could do, like, 6 straight hours of sleep, or if you're, like, having a nap, do, like, either an hour and a half or 3 hours. So, yeah, like, hour and a half, 3 hours, 4.5, 6 hours, but 7.5 is like the key ideal amount of sleep to get. No, estoy haciendo un video. Gracias. There was like a few other things, some things that I already knew about, like when you're gonna go to bed, like hot drinks, like having tea, having like either a hot or cold. Actually, I think it said to have a cold shower to like cool your body, because when you go to sleep, your body cools down, and so if you have a cool shower, it like speeds up that process. Um, or like a warm bath. Oh no. I think it wants you to have like a warm bath, and then after your bath, like have a cool shower. I think that was like the ideal thing. Obviously, making your bedroom like dark, making the last like hour, half an hour before you go to bed, screen free. Excuse me. Um, those were some other things, but that main thing for me about like sleeping an hour and a half increments, because apparently like if that's your sleep cycle like for an hour and a half and you wake up in the middle of it, lots of times that's why you feel like groggy, or you just hit the snooze button and you don't really want to get out of bed. But if you're waking up at the end of your sleep cycle, even if you've only gotten like 4.5 or 6 hours of sleep instead of this recommended 7.5, um, you'll still you'll be more like awake. You'll feel awake or whatever, like at the end of your sleep cycle. Anyways, I gotta move on here. Eat better. This was, you know what? I think the exercise chapter was second, even though it's listed the other way around. Yeah, so move better. I don't know if there was anything specific that I like took away from this chapter. It talked a lot about, well, no, I think that was the eat chapter. Yeah, like I mean, basically the more exercise the better. It talked about like all the things that exercise does for you, and basically that you just need to do it every day. And it almost doesn't even matter what it is, as long as you're getting active and moving and upping your heart rate every day. But it talked about specifically a lot about yoga and the benefits of yoga, and even just stretching, um, and walking, and yeah, like there's like more specific things if you want to get into it. But like for someone who's not active at all, I'm gonna be doing like baby steps type of thing. Like, so, and then from Eat Better, there was a lot of different like sub chapters of Eat Better. But things that kept repeating over and over were the importance of omega 3s. I guess we're supposed to eat omega 6s and omega 3s in a ratio of like 2 to 1, I think. But really, what we're normally eating is like 60 to 1. Like, there's just an abundance of omega 6s in the average North American's diet, and like hardly any omega 3s. So basically, you're supposed to cut back on your grain fed red meats and all of your like frying oils and things like that, and eat a lot more of extra virgin olive oil, and like small unfarmed fish. Small unfarmed, what is the other adjective he uses? Cold water, I think. Yeah. It was like really specific that the fish need to be small and unfarmed. And I think he kept saying cold water too. I can't remember. Like if you're gonna eat beef, you should eat grass-fed, organic beef, and poultry, things like that. Um, of course, the importance of like nuts and berries have good everything, and so you're supposed to kind of use those for your snacks, like a handful of nuts and different nuts and seeds and a handful of berries, and that's like a pretty good snack. And I actually tried that today. I had a handful, which ended up being like 11 or 12 almonds, and then I did a handful of pumpkin seeds with a handful of blueberries, so basically 3 handfuls of food. I have small hands, so it's okay. And it actually was like filling enough to basically like tide me over for until like for about an hour or so until I got like a lot closer to lunch. But I wasn't drinking as much water as I should, so obviously yeah, like hydrate. Those are the main things that I took away from eat that I didn't like already know. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about getting rid of the simple carbohydrates out of your diet and adding in more complex carbs, which is a big change that you can make if you stop eating white breads and all the pastries and all the like crap. And then when you do eat carbs, you're eating like sprouted grains or at least whole wheat. But yeah, like the more grains and the more like natural and unprocessed it is, it's the better for you because it digests slower. Um, and then from Think Better, it talked about different ways to concentrate properly and different. It talked about meditating and yeah, things like that. The Think Better chapter was like a lot, or Think Clearly. The Think Clearly chapter was a lot shorter than the other chapters. And this one I definitely, like, for sure fell asleep during, like, a few times, so maybe. But I think, yeah, meditating is something that I've always wanted to do. Okay, it's here. Like, what's this? Is that a sub? No, it's not. Okay. 5 happiness strategies. Oh, that's these. Oh, maybe that's the wrong thing. Oh god, and I just flipped out of it. Yeah, I think I talked about meditation. Oh yeah, using like self-talk, like, and basically like talking to yourself in like a positive way, and using power words to like motivate yourself, which they say that lots of like what do they call them? They use like 3 like big time examples. Yeah, influential people like Mandela, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa, and apparently they all used what he calls power words, that just help them live their life the way that they wanted to. Gandhi's word was truth. And for anyone who didn't know, he liberated India from British rule. Mandela's word was equality, and because of his commitment to that, he spent 25 years in jail and ended the apartheid there. And Mother Teresa's word was love, and she was an amazing person who helped and cared for a lot of people that needed it. So, like, there's that. And then at the end of the book, it was actually kind of cool. It says, the chapter's called The 7 Pathways, Using the Ripple Effect to Live a World-Class Life. And it took 7 different types of people. It said the CEO, the athlete, the student, the parent, the performer. And what am I missing? Student, parent, performer, and the transformer, and the health advocate. And it talked about which principles from each chapter would be best for people that fall into those different categories to use. And then it has like a basic like schedule that example, I guess, for each person. So a day in the life of the health advocate, for example. 5:30 wake, water, pre-workout snack. 6 o'clock morning movement practice and training session. 7:30 meditation and integration. 8 o'clock power breakfast, and on and on and on. So I thought like that was really interesting. And also I should mention, for anyone who is going to read this, on Goodreads it says that this book is like 300 and some pages long. And that's kind of true, but I don't know anyone who reads through the what's it called? It's called Notes, I think, but it's the like, and see, like, I've been out of school for a really long time. What do you call it? Like a is it called a bibliography? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to look up the right word. I hope that's the right word, otherwise I sound pretty dumb. But it's like throughout the book, because this is he has a PhD. And so like this is an actual, like, everything he says in the book is true. So he has all his facts like cited. He's cited his sources. And that's what the last like 40 pages of the book are. It's like, okay, this number 1 from the introduction was from Science Daily. So no one's reading that. So it's actually only 270 pages long. And it took me forever to finish. Holy crap. Now I can actually read stories. Okay, so that was what that was about, and I think it's really beneficial. And at every section of the book, like, I was thinking about it during my everyday, and starting to put some of the things that they talk about just into practice. And I think it's good for anyone who is looking to just improve their day-to-day life, like just understanding how those 4 basic things really have such a huge impact on our quality of life and our happiness, and how they all integrate together. And you know, like, you can be good at 3 of those things and suck at 1 of them, and it's just gonna have a huge impact on your life. And so yeah, I don't know, I recommend reading it to anyone who's interested in improving any of those things. Like, it's not going to be like a super fun read, but it's got all the facts in there in terms that are basically easy to understand. And like, I'm not, you know, I wasn't sitting there and having to like look things up. Like, it was definitely readable. And yeah, no, I liked it, and I'm gonna keep it, and I'm probably gonna force it on people in my life that I love, because that's what I do. All right, that is an 18-minute long, in-depth review of what that book was about. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm so glad I'm finally done reading it, and I can move on. All right, have a good night, everyone. Bye.